We have only 35 chambers. There is no 36.
I know that. But I want to create a new chamber.
And what would that be?
I think Shaolin techniques should be available to all. So then, that's my idea for a new chamber. To teach the martial arts to the people. Anybody.
All right, welcome back to another episode of My 3 Cents. We must teach the martial arts to the people, right? All right, so in this one I want to talk about what it means to be a visionary. I know a lot of people don't consider themselves visionaries or even dreamers. But I want to talk about how important it is to have a vision. Because sometimes when you don't have anything else, all you do have is that vision to hold on to. So I want to call this one the power of vision. As most of you know, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm also an inventor. So with my entrepreneurship had to come a lot of education of how to achieve what I foresaw as the result. Now, I want you to think about visions for a minute. Visions come in a few different forms, and the definitions for the forms I'm going to use are actually from the Bible, because I know most people can relate to the Bible, so I like to kind of give information from the Bible and then have the ability to break it down and show you it might not be what you think it is, or it might be what you thought it was, right? So when we talk about vision, right, we always hear the word vision. My first place hearing that was religion. It was as a Christian, hearing that some people could have visions, also hearing that some people were what they call prophetic. So I'm sure you have heard the term prophetic, even if you don't refer to it as a visionary. So another term for being prophetic or being a prophet was called a seer, right? So you were known as a seer. Now this is a Hebrew word. So this goes back beyond some of the translations that you might have come across. So if you were known as a seer, now we would say you were a prophet, or you were prophetic because you could see. Now clearly we're not talking about 20/20 or any kind of real measurable vision. We're talking about being able to see with what they call the mind's eye, and what some people call the third eye, which all relates to the physical pineal gland. So what I'm showing you is that even a lot of the stuff you're taking from the Bible and saying that you don't believe in other things that you call mysticism are actually just the same things, again, in a different form. So we use the term chosen a lot as well. I'm going to show you how that relates to being a seer. So in Hebrew, the word ra'ah, or let's see, you spell it R-A''AH. Now, this is from the Bible's angle, okay? This isn't me, this is from the Bible's angle. So the Hebrew word was R-A''AH. This was used by Samuel. And what this meant was to see, to look, to perceive, or even to have a vision. Now, if you want to look this up in the Bible, it is 1 Samuel 9:19. All right? 1 Samuel 9:19. Now, the noun that they used for being a prophet was the word Chaze or Chose, right? This was spelled, well, we know vowels are interchangeable. They mean nothing. It is the consonants in the word that hold the true meaning of the word, the true vibration of word, right? The consonants. What's constant about the vibration? What is more consistent in it? So the one they use is spelled Chozeh. So you can say that's Chose, right? So what does it already sound like? Chosen. Also, if you understand etymology, the lowercase h and the n are the same. There are a lot of letters that are the same letter, but because of how they continue the flow of certain forms, let's say, then they will continue to come up with what they call letters. And we will say that, well, this one isn't that one, when in fact all letters come from the first three letters, at least from our alphabet, A, B, and C. The straight lines, curves, and angles of A, B, and C create every other letter in the alphabet, as an example. So they use that word, chose, which we know is etymologically related to the word chosen. This is what they called the prophets. Now, this was also a Bible term, we'll say a Bible term, in the Old Testament, right? And so this word, chose, meant a seer or a vision. So we go back to the word ra'ah, or R-A apostrophe A-H, being used by Samuel in 1 Samuel 9:19. The knowledge of to see, to look, to perceive, or to have a vision. So the chose, which is how you refer to a prophet in the Older Testament, in one of the aspects. Now this is during the time of Samuel. It meant a seer or a vision. So what you got to understand is that the first thing you should notice is when you're using the word R-A apostrophe A-H, did anybody pick up on Ra? Did anybody pick up on the fact that the prophet or the seer was Ra? Now in Kemetic times, who was Amun-Ra, the sun god? So you got to understand the knowledge that they're using is a very simple knowledge, but it can be replicated in so many forms, you just won't recognize it. And you'll claim allegiance to, let's say, religion. And you won't realize that the danger in that is simply not allowing your spirit man to have access to everything else that's available, that's clearly here in the realm for a reason. Why is it when it comes to religion, all of a sudden things exist without reason? When any other time we say, well, everything happens for a reason. So that means that even the things you don't know about, you should investigate because they exist for a reason, especially if they cross your mind. That means it's time to look into them. That means that you might be lined up to get some type of great insight. So let's recap. Ra'ah, or Ra, which was used in the Bible, is a reference to the sun god Amun-Ra. And we know that the Amun-Ra means the hidden God. So this is also why Christians say Amen at the end of a prayer. They're trying to give that prayer to what is represented as the sun god, the giver of life, Amun-Ra. This is why you have the term ray, as in sun rays, that is Ra. So even the character Horus is the same as Amun-Ra. And I know if you don't study a lot of these different theology / mythologies. If you don't look into these things, it might sound complicated, but a lot of these characters are the same character. But at a different time, as they matured or digressed, either way, they would be given different names at a different time because, true enough, they were operating under a different energy. This is no different than when some of us grew up and had nicknames. Now, they might not call you that nickname in your current age because it is a name you went by when you were operating in a different energy. I'm just giving you an example of the fact that they did the same thing. And we, for some reason, can't understand to see it that way. Right? So, what I was saying was that Horus was the same as the Amun-Ra. And this is why you'd have the stories of Horus taking the 12 steps across the sky during the day. Remember, we get 12 hours of light. The word Horus is also where the word hours come from. Hours. So when you're talking about hours in a day, you're saying there's 24 Horus in a day. I'm just telling you where it comes from. I don't care what religious sector or group you belong to. That's your business. You shouldn't be doing that, but you'll figure it out. So what I'm telling you is that these 24 Horus in a day is where this stuff traces back to. So they would say that Horus took his highest position at his 6th step. Now, all this stuff is in the stories. You can look it up. Just look up something like Horus walks across the sky, right? And then all the stories will pop up and let you know that this stuff existed long before Christianity. These are just allegorical tales so that humanity can have something tethering them to the knowledge. The knowledge can't just be blown in the wind. It has to be attached to real-time things that are in use. You get what I'm saying? TV, movies, marketing, business, commerce. These are concepts that all just come from energy transforming into different energies, going by different names because they're operating under different energies during a different time. So, let's get back to the vision, the visionary, the prophet, the seer, Ra. So now you understand why he's known as the seer. Because if you're talking about Ra, and if you're talking about the sun and the sun deity, then you're talking about Amun-Ra. And when you look that up, you're going to see the symbol is a sun disk. Right? This is also why they say the all-seeing eye of Amun-Ra. Now do you get it? So what does that eye represent? What does it symbolize? Because we got to stop getting caught up in symbols and understand the point of symbolization. Why is it symbolizing something? That's what we need to really be looking into. The all-seeing eye of Amun-Ra is just symbology of the sun. The single eye in the sky. You see how this works? It's not as complicated as you might want to make it, and it's not as mystical as some people make it. So, Chose means the seer or a vision. So this is why we say that the chosen have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, right? The chose, however you want to say it. That's up to you. The only thing that changes the inflections on these words are the vowels. That's why the vowels are interchangeable. They mean nothing to a word. So it could sound like you're saying a different word because you put an I where an E used to be. But truly, that's the same body with something different energy trying to possess it. You can't, let's see. You can't change what something is. Point blank, period. So, especially if you're just going off the sound, the phonetics. You know, don't get me started on the Phoenicians. We're not gonna jump on them on this one. So they say that the ability to be prophetic and have vision is truly a gift, right? Christians say this is a gift from God, the highest form of self. I agree. Only if we can first agree that God is the highest form of self. It is not one totality outside of any of us. How many gods would exist that were the one if we all believed it was outside of us, instead of understanding its connection to all of us based upon what we all share? Consciousness. Without consciousness, the body can't even move and still be alive. This is like the coma or the comma. So again, you can change the vowels and see the difference. The coma and the comma, same thing. It is a pause. In the sentence, what is a sentence? To a sentient being. Life. Life is a sentence. See, this is why when you do time, they call it your sentence. Sentience. That's your prison. These bodies. There's something deep to understand about all this that I know goes over some people's head, and I know a lot of people here are chosen to hear this stuff and know exactly what I'm saying, but maybe have not been able to grab onto it, put it in this form, in this way of saying it. That's why I feel like I'm doing my civic duty. I'm not claiming to be a know-it-all by any means, but I do recognize that I've been given an ability and I'm sharing it. No shame, right? Vulnerability, name of the game. This is a shortcut to leveling up. If you want a shortcut to leveling up your life, make yourself vulnerable somewhere. In some situation, some area, go ahead and make yourself vulnerable. Don't foresee the letdown. Don't care. Be vulnerable and be proud of that. That's an achievement. We all know from playing games that unlocking achievements is key. That means you did something, right? So let's get back to this gift, this prophetic vision that you are granted from the God body, right? The God mind, the higher form of self. In Acts 2:17, it says, in the last days, God says, now we know that this wasn't talking about audible tone when it says God says. So I'm trying to show you that this is an internal event, as everything else in the Bible is an internal event. Many of those, I would say 99% of the Bible is an internal event for you. Great example of how you should react to certain situations. But you got to have the foresight to put yourself in the story and realize that any book you pick up, any TV show you watch, any movie that you watch, you become the main character by participation. You got to understand that. So in the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. So the first thing I want to say about that is where it says in the last days. We know that the term day comes from the term degree. So in the last degrees, God says, right? So this is the imparting of. So in the last degrees, Christ consciousness. This is the highest form of self, crown chakra type of elevation, right? This is the lotus flower open. Pour out the spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions, and your old men will dream dreams. These are all deep things to break down. But what we're sticking to in this one is the knowledge of vision, tied in with dreams, tied in with gifts and abilities. Right? So like I said before, there's a few different types of vision that I want to touch on that are actually biblical in their reference. So the first type of vision is what we just say a vision, right? The first thing we might think of is a simple picture, or even what they would say is a moving picture happening in the mind. Now, this is like what I would call a download, because I get a lot of these types of visions where my mind will show me the picture or a small scene. And so the breaking down of a download is being able to, it's like somebody giving you a picture physically, right? Imagine somebody walks up to you, they hand you a picture physically, they give you a picture that has, you haven't seen it yet, right? They just say, hey, go look at this. This is equivalent to what a download feels like. It is. Someone giving you a picture, you get to go off alone in the best lighting ever and have nothing to do but look at this picture. And while you're looking at it, all kind of things are coming to you because you haven't seen this picture. You just was given this picture. So the unlocking of the download is to go sneak off and look at the picture in the best lighting that you can find. So now a Christian would say that this is the Holy Spirit affecting your imagination. The Bible references imagination a lot, imagery. Daydreaming, night dreaming, two different things. These are energies that we need to understand. Because if you are a visionary, if you're someone with dreams, if you're someone that dreams, if you're trying to accomplish something in life, you're going to have to understand this stuff. Because there's going to come times where you're the only one that sees the vision. And when nobody else sees your vision but you, that can be a very tough road and a tough place to be. So we want to be in a position to at least understand the power of our vision and have that to hold on to. So the second type of vision I want to talk about as a prophetic being is, which just means you're going through the awakening, right? The Bible doesn't say that, but that's what that means. When one becomes prophetic, when you start to have dreams and have visions like they already just told you, this is supposed to happen in the last degrees. Degrees of what? Well, what is the only thing that degrees can be leading to? Wholeness. 360 degrees. Completion. So in the last days before completion, you'll start to get visions and have dreams. You'll start to understand what you've already understood. So when we're talking about the next type, we're talking about what they call trance vision, where they say the physical surroundings are still there, but the senses, to the senses, you're still seeing what you're seeing, right? So what would I compare that to? Catch this. That is no different than virtual reality. Actually, let me think about that, because it might be more of an augmented. Yeah, it's more of an augmented reality. So I made notes when I first thought about this. It was more of an augmented reality when they was talking about Peter's vision, and when they were saying that his vision was known as the trance type of vision, the trance vision. right? Trans, right? So this is like an augmented reality. And for those of you that don't know what augmented reality is, what I'm trying to show you again is that the technologies, the stuff that they give us come from us. Always. Don't ever be impressed by technology. That means that you're unimpressed with yourself. You have to just recognize the technology as how it's connected to you and what it is. So with Peter, how they explain this type of vision is in Acts 10, 9 through 17. And they say about noon the following day, as they were on their journey and approaching the city, it says the ones who were looking for Peter. Let me see. Cornelius. So Peter went up on the roof to pray. He became hungry, wanted something to eat. Now, when I read this, I instantly said, okay, he's to pray. Now, I already knew that the word prayer and praying comes from meditation. It is just the way we have interpreted it to say prayer. This is a form of meditation. So you'll also have Christians that say, I don't believe in meditation. That's some silly stuff to say. It's weird. Because you don't believe in breathing deeply and quieting the self. How can you not believe in that? And maybe that's why you constantly feel like you keep having to pray. Because instead of asking for things or whatever you're doing, you should be quieting everything and going into meditation. So it says, Peter went up on the roof to pray. He became hungry and wanted something to eat. And while the meal was being prepared, right, while the substance is being conjured, right, while the magic is happening, he fell into a trance. Now, what does that sound like to you? Praying or meditation? How many of y'all have tried to meditate, don't fully understand meditation, and fell asleep? Like the first few times trying it, I have fell asleep before meditating years ago. Because I didn't understand what I was supposed to be doing besides closing my eyes and breathing. I end up falling asleep. To this day, people tell me that's one of their main problems. So I try to help people not have that by letting them know what they should be doing in meditation. What should be the focus? Because there is a focus. You don't just fall out into a trance. But in a deep enough meditation, it can be perceived as a trance where you're actually receiving downloads. You're in that space. So it says he fell into a trance. He saw heaven opened and something like a large sheet, S-H-E-E-T, being let down to earth by its four corners. It contained all kinds of four-footed animals as well as reptiles and birds. The voice told him, "Get up, Peter, kill and eat." Now, if you were to have this type of vision now and tell somebody that a voice in your vision told you to get up, kill, and eat, I think they might try to lock you up. Now, I'm not making light of this, but what I'm saying is, in a place like this, the United States, in a country where we say we're based on Jesus and God stuff, right? Where everything that is sacred to us as far as documentation and constitutions and all kinds of oaths are all based around this mythology turned religion. But when you look into it, it seems like they're not following the religion at all. Because people are suffering, dying, and not communicating and not hearing each other. The truth is, the plan is going according to plan. They are following what they believe in, and it is you that has misinterpreted religion, and you have misinterpreted the Bible, and you have misinterpreted your role in this whole thing. That is what is leaving you confused. That's what's also leaving you feeling like no one's doing what they're supposed to be doing, when it is in fact you that is probably not doing what they should be doing, which is going deeper. So this was transvision, which I relate to augmented reality technology. Now, the next kind of vision that they give you is called the open vision, right? Now remember, this is Bible knowledge, this is biblical knowledge, this is religious knowledge. I'm just breaking it down in an esoteric way. A third type of vision, known as open vision, is where a person experiences the vision in physical reality as a physical reality. Now, you might say, well, that sounds, I don't know about that one, right? How do you have it in the physical, real reality? You don't believe it. Well, once again, this is something that comes from the stuff you say you do believe in. So let's take it to Acts 10:3-4. One day at about 3 in the afternoon, he had a vision. He distinctly saw an angel of God who came to him and said, Cornelius. Cornelius stared at him in fear. What is it, Lord? He asked. The angel answered, your prayers and gifts to the poor have come up as a memorial offering before God. So this was an example of a physical apparition. This was an example of something that that the author is stating happened in a more physical reality. Right? So I say that to say, once again, if you were to share any of this type of visionary power or ability with anybody nowadays, I don't think you'd get far. And I think that it's because so many of these things have been misinterpreted that we can't understand the abilities that we talk about but don't claim. Think about that. How many claim to have vision but don't call themselves prophetic? How many claim to have dreams and aspirations but don't even dream at night? That are disconnected from the deeper part of self. So even with this last one that they call the open vision, you just have to understand and overstand that this is the open-eyed vision. Your eyes were open when you saw this one. You see? In the trance vision, the eyes were closed and you were in a trance or meditative state. This is all from the Bible now. I'm not giving you esoteric knowledge. Well, I am, but I'm giving it to you through their lens. And then the picture or the moving image is the good old-fashioned download vision that's actually very scarce nowadays, even though it's like the most basic type of vision you could get. Which you might look at as one of your own ideas and still not recognize that these things are coming to you and through you. The totality of what you are is, in the now, is going to determine what you're able to perceive and get out of any of this, any message, any vision. Now, everything I just said was to bring you all the way back to my point. The power of being a visionary. What is the point of this, right? Me as an entrepreneur, as an inventor, I just recently learned in the most solid way, through traction and through progress with my own project, that sometimes when you don't see constant progression over time, and it can even be years, you need to have something to hold on to when nobody else sees your vision and when nobody sees movement in your vision. This is why this is important. Because there comes times on the journey of being an entrepreneur, an inventor, a creator of any kind, even if you're creating kids. Just think about this. There comes a time where a creator of any kind needs to understand and overstand his ability to create. Your limitations will always only be you. If at some point in the story you start believing that there's no progress because you thought you saw evidence of no progress, you pushed that narrative. You see, life can't push a narrative on you. And you might say, well, this happened and that happened and I had nothing to do with it. Well, yeah, you actually did if it even came to you. And here's the thing. You just might have been ignorant of what you could have done. Nothing comes to you by happenstance. So when time goes by and you're working on something, man, stop talking about it. Don't tell nobody about it if you feel that energy coming back to you of disbelief, or you're just not getting the support you're looking for. I'm showing you how to find the support in your vision. Because a vision is not just something you see. How do you unpack a vision? You got to feel your way through it. If I show you a picture of something you've never seen before, it's going to also make you feel some type of way when you look at it and perceive it. You're going to lean one direction or the other, right? This is the feeling that's attached to perception. And even if you're the only one that can perceive what you got going on, stay attached to the feeling of knowing. Knowing that what you have going on is what you should be doing. There's a deep knowing that comes with that kind of lays on top of this at some point, where you don't have to guess if you're doing the right thing. It's called gnosis. Knowing. It's a deep mystical knowing that comes to you, where you can't explain how you know. Don't question that. Hold on to that. You'll need it. You know, I've learned etymology and different things over time that have showed me so many tricks, secrets, and just things that we've overlooked. Like the word decade and how that represents the 10 and the decimal and the DEC. And then what you find is that even something like that is based on the word decay, decayed, speaking as past tense. Because the knowledge is that some things in nature and some things that happen in life are meant to happen at a slow pace. And all you can do is believe they're happening because you can't perceive it. You get what I'm saying? Try to look in the mirror and see yourself aging. You can't. Not like this. But you believe in age. Why? Because if a decade goes by, you can simply go back to that same mirror, look at it, and see the decay. You can see the evidence. That's traction. That's proof. Whether you look younger or older, it's evidence of what you've been doing. You get where I'm going with this? When you realize that age and time was real, that's all you needed. You started feeling it. A lot of people say, I feel time, I feel my age. Think about that. Think about what people say and don't realize they're saying. Giving you the keys to the game. They have them themselves and don't realize it. So this is why it's important to have a vision, how to know how to hold on, cling on to your vision. How do you do that? By feeling it. How do you feel it? It has to be the truth. It'll shine through. You go put that work in. By the time you show up again, you've done things that, trust me, it will be seen if that's what you care about. But what I am telling you is what to not care about, which is not seeing traction or not seeing progress when you want to see it. Don't care about that. Prophets, visionaries, Chose, Ra'ah, to perceive, to look, to have vision, to be a seer. I don't care what religion you belong to. I'm just trying to give you the knowledge of how to unlock yourself so that you have something to believe in. Don't feel me if you don't feel you first. Think about how when somebody drops something deep on you, they say, you feel me? Think about it. This thing is about what you feel and cling to. The brain understands emotion and imagination over everything. And it bases how you feel about your reality on that. A day is a day because a degree is a degree. Every degree is the same. The only thing different is the perception of your opportunities. Each degree. That's it. So I just wanted to drop in here and let y'all know, man, if you need something to hold on to yourself. Feel yourself. Excite yourself. Hold on to a vision that you have and maybe nobody else sees it. But I'm telling you right now, years and years and years can go by. As long as your mind is on that thing, it is being created one way or another. How many of you have thought of things, didn't act on them, and then later years saw them in reality and say, I thought of that years ago and didn't do anything? Well, you're the reason that you actually can see that thing now because you brought it out into the ether. You were the medium. You were the thing that conjured it. And because you didn't act on what you conjured, somebody else did. It's like having a baby and not taking care of him. Guess what? Somebody will adopt. That's how it goes. So when you have a vision, you better realize, get going on it. Because somewhere in the galaxy, these vibrations have been put out. Once you start thinking and seeing it clearly, that is your signal to act on it. Don't be overwhelmed by the bigger picture. Just be secure in knowing that you feel it. When I was given the vision of what I'm doing now, I saw it in its finished form. I had no idea of any, I had taken computer and electronics courses. I did have some knowledge, but I didn't know how to bring something to life from vision. So the first thing I did was I started drawing it with pencil. I put pencil to paper and I started getting the vision out of my mind first. Once I could get it on paper, that's where the journey began. I took the first step to bring it into the realm. I didn't wait to see it. And what I'm finding out now is that what the universe does is it will set up an orchestra, right, of events that will crescendo all at the same time. You have no idea this is going on while you're on your journey. I'm telling you a secret. You have no idea this is going on while you're on your journey. You're not privy to this information because it would affect you on your journey. That's why. You're not supposed to have this. So if you're here listening to this and getting this, congratulations, because you just got a cheat code. That should take a lot of weight off your shoulders. If you're seeing repeat numbers and synchronicities, you better understand and understand that you are inside of something that is very well calculated and it got you. You're good. Just because your circumstances in this degree doesn't look like they did in this degree, guess what? There's 360 degrees to wholeness of any energy. You got to understand, man, I'm telling you. Whatever energy you're in, you better know what energy you're working to become whole in. Because you might be working toward wholeness in the wrong energy. Because the one you need is there. You got to shift. You got to feel it. You got to move that direction. You see, if you try to look at the whole thing and it doesn't make sense to you, dial it back. Go all the way back to where it stopped making sense and jump off the building. You'll land. Believe me. So just know that thing is working out there in the galaxy. It's working for you. Whatever you keep your mind on, quote unquote, good or bad, positive or negative. We're talking about charges. Again, we're just talking about energy. But whatever you keep your mind on, it is working. And guess what? is coming for you. So I hope you don't spend your mind in too many dark places for too long. Do that shadow work and get back to the surface. Feel the sun. All right? Remember, get them sunrise. All right, so I'm going to drop out, man. Look, lately I've just been wanting to really, I've been doing a lot of work. I want to get on here real quick. Just talk about vision. Just show you that you are chosen, especially if you hear you chose a. Look it up. CHOZEH. You're a seer. You have vision. Now learn how to bring that thing into the realm. Do something. Take a step. To everything you don't understand, go deeper into it. It's there. It got you. It would have never came to you if it wasn't supposed to come to you. And remember, YOU is your own universe. It's all about you. You got all the answers. Now unlock them. Repeat listeners, I appreciate you. Supporters, you already know what time it is. Link up with my email. Get in the description of the episode. Email me. Get with me. Keep doing it. I want to talk to y'all. I'm trying to be... No, I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is that I'm making more time for this. The feedback I love. The real conversation I love. This, not so fun to me, but I'll do it. If I got to sit here and talk alone, I'll do it because apparently it's helping y'all out. So keep hitting me up. Keep reaching out. If it's your first time, welcome. Check out some other episodes. They all relate. Trust me. So until next time, this has been my 3 cents on vision. Also, check out the merch website that I leave in the description because there's actually some vision t-shirts on that site. I own them in both colors. My daughter does as well. All right. So until next time, this has been my 3 cents. Work on your vision and have yourself a dream. But don't just sit there and wait for it. All right. Wholeness and a whole bunch of gratitude. Go.